Okay, yeah, so as Greg said, we tried to pick pieces tonight that are from other sources or have been treated in some sort of way. I want to read a piece called Hydra, and the idea for this was a group of poets that I was friends with each decided to do one of the labors of Hercules, and I write a poem about that. And so I picked to do the Hydra as one of the challenges that Hercules had to cut off the heads of this serpent that kept growing more heads. And at the time I was working an assembly line job, and so with hydraulics. And so hydraulics.
Oh dear.
So I came up with this poem based on found material from my workplace, based on the Hydra. Listen for odd noises. Note any operator concerns. Listen for odd noises. Check for cleanliness. Note any operator concerns. Check PVC former. Listen for odd noises. Ensure all guards are in place. Check for cleanliness. Report any safety concerns. Note any operator concerns. Check sensors. Check PVC former. Check all fans are operating. Listen for odd noises. Inspect delivery chute. Ensure all guards are in place. Check heat box. Check for cleanliness. Check warp rod, push rod, nylon knuckle. Report any safety concerns. Check lamps of master and slave are on. And note any operator concerns. Check belts and chains. Check sensors. Check clamps for tightness. Check PVC former. Check nuts and clasps are secure. Check all fans are operating. Check bag seal. Listen for odd noises. Clean nozzle area, inspect delivery chute, clean head assembly, ensure all guards are in place, clean and grease eccentrics, check heat box, apply grease to all nipples, then wipe off excess grease, check for cleanliness, grease nip drive rollers, check warp bar, push rod, nylon knuckle, grease post bearings, report any safety concerns, grease pillow blocks, check lamps of master and slave are on, check harden brushings and lubricate, note any operator concerns, drop of oil on chain, check belts and chains, check impeller is properly mounted on the shaft, check sensors, check screw weakness, then drive home. Check clamps for tightness, check tightness of screw, check PVC former, check and record clamp pressure, check nuts and clasps are secure, check and record pump pressure, check all fans are operating, check and record ram pressure, check bag seal, check and record screw pressure, listen for odd noises. All sensors working. Disconnect, disassemble, check, sanitize, and reassemble piston and cylinder, dismount horn and clean, replace filter and diaphragm if necessary, craft papping stripper, and rewind. Listen for odd noises. And I also took the idea of taking text and from other places, translation, to do some translations of the pieces as well, because there is a source text that a new text is being generated from. And I did a homolinguistic translation from English to English of a Frank O'Hara poem. Frank O'Hara, his original poem is called a poem, in parentheses, Khrushchev is coming on the right day. And Frank O'Hara was known for dropping a lot of names in his poems, a lot of names of his friends and proper names. And so I thought it'd be funny to do a translation of an O'Hara poem where I took every proper name and changed it to a common noun, and every common noun and changed it to a proper name, and so sort of reverse the use of it. So this is my translation of O'Hara's Khrushchev is coming on the right day. Zipper is coming on the right Zevon. The cool-graced Malay is pushed off the enormous balk by hard Rosenblatt, and everything is tossing, hurrying on up. This Hobbs is everything but Politis. A Captain Crunch, Sid Vicious says, and 5 different Burgess I see look like reptile cages. With her blonde O'Keefe tossing too as she looked when I pushed her little Rilke on the Campion. On the Mitchell it was also windy. Last Amano, we went to a Faldo and came out. Quail is greater than armchair, Silicon said. That's what I think. Blueberry Beckett and Zipper was probably being carped at in Javex, no politesse. Silicon tells me about his Shaw's trip to Kodak. Bottle tells us about his Franco's life in aspirin. It sounds like Jackknife's painting aspirin. So I go Purdy to Pollock and Jones, drift through my Plato plane ticket pool table and cuttlefish, all unknown Richards of the early fries as I go Stein. Where does the McLuhan of the Crumb go when Drano takes Q-tip and turns it to Ozone Artaud? Gates of Edison. So I get back up, make McCartney and read tea leaves, his echo so dark. Q-tip seems blinding, and my Marx is blowing up the Skinner. I wish it would blow off, though it is cold and somewhat warms my bush. As the Hugo bears Zipper onto Big Mac, and the Edison seems to be eternal, and Augustine seems to be inexorable, I am foolish enough always to find it in O'Hara. So there's my Purdy reference. I got it for Purdy Day. There's a Purdy reference in there. I've got a sequence called the Viagra Monologues. These were a series of poems, or a series of stanzas I wrote based on sequences of words that were sent to me in email messages trying to convince me to buy Viagra. And it sort of works on the snowball. It starts with 4 lines, the melting snowball, I guess. 4 lines, 3 lines, 2 lines, 1 line, and then it expands up again, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just, it's a long poem, but I'll just read a couple pages of it so you get a feel for it. So all the words are derived from email messages. Anybody newt in perpetuity, cybernetic serpent Boswell, dinnerware Debussy, crinkle, dossier showdown, decertify the Messiah, dimple chipmunk laxative rerouted, vague Walcott brontosaurus dur, Max Ovid funny, gag writer giddy counterpoise, contextual documentation, litigate diversionary Nevada, raceway pummel conspicuous Gordon, preside curious monotonous shoal, alienate harmonious eelgrass, appraise infancy, contort, decommission email, cream bobolink sink, eschew feasible Lenin analogy, syllogistic sprocket, corruptible facial, bromide chamber serfdom, Harvard Hoover, converge, symbiotic epiphany, disastrous dialogue rag, Bronx nog and greatcoat influence, Commodore condominium chutney continuum, blueprint Blake broth, vanilla verbiage, confound, playground to psychotherapy, boycott Brazilian bibliographies, advise aggressive Albertan archangels. And so it continues like that. Still on the same sort of themes. One of the new sequences I'm working on is a sequence I call idiosyntactic, where I try to take the 2 different linguistic discourses and mash them together. So the first one I'm going to read is called Sports Talk, and I've tried to take the discourse of sportscasting and mix it with poetry and creative writing. So this is called Sports Talk. There's no I in language poetry. I gotta stay focused, take it one poem at a time. An epiphanic first-person lyric is like kissing your sister. I knew what I had to write, and I went out there and wrote it. If you're Charles Bernstein, you're gonna want to put a joke in here. Gotta watch out for the over-publishing factor. Bad reviews even out over the course of a career. He won't retire until he gets that GG. You draft the best available poem. She's still very much alive. I lost my focus, I beat myself. Gotta get out there and find your voice. She could be the winningest writer in history. He's the epitome of a great creative writing student. He's not writing for immortality, he's writing not to die. What a difference a workshop makes. They can smell blood in the ink. He managed to eke out a rhyme. That's the hardest working line in poetry. I did not knowingly or willingly take Vadic substances. These readers deserve a writer. This is all just a walk in Parnassus for him now. She's the sweetheart of the scene. She reminds me of a young Nicole Broussard. He will have his elegy face on. A publication is a publication. You gotta respect her prosody. Canonization can be misleading. Canonization tells the whole story. She silenced all the critics. It's all over but the reciting. Poetry can make things happen out there. It's a whole new ballad form. She needs an award to stave off elimination. A lot of the faithful are heading for the movies. When it stops being fun, it's time to quit. Mistakes were made. There's no question about it. I'm looking forward to the next chapter in my life. This one's going, gone. And this is same sequence. The idea was to mix drinking lingo and drinking terms with war or militarism and patriotism. So this one's called Dead Soldiers. Another dead soldier, une autre bouteille sous couche. To take a few below the belt, bottoms up for top-down orders. Another Mickey, all for a mouse. Or a 40-pounder ammonium nitrate block demolition charge. Hammered for Hamid. A Legion Beers disease. 2-4 March. Have a shot, take a shot, another shot. Through the teeth, over the guns. Give cheers, car horns toot on the highway of heroes. No thinking and driving. Salute, chin-chins up. Hair of the dog of war that bit you. Had a bellyful by now, but keep bayoneting the wounded. Tying one on ties us down. Under the table. Good night, Irene. Good night, Steve. Good night, IED.